The Shadow Within. In a small, unassuming town nestled deep within the heart of Pennsylvania, there lies a house that holds a chilling tale. It was the summer of 17, during a sweltering heatwave, when an unsuspecting family became entwined in a web of terror. The protagonist, let's call him Jake, was sent on a seemingly innocent errand by his mother. Clad in a flimsy jacket, he ventured out into the night to fetch some snacks from the nearby convenience store. Little did he know, this mundane task would awaken a sinister presence lurking in the shadows. As Jake returned home through the creaking front door, he caught a glimpse of an eerie figure stationed near the garage. The figure was shrouded in darkness, a grotesque silhouette of a middle-aged man. Bewildered, Jake attempted to rationalize its presence, assuming it to be a neighbor or a distant relative. However, upon closer inspection, he realized it was no ordinary visitor but an intangible phantom, devoid of any discernible features. Fear gripped him, urging him to avert his gaze, and when he summoned the courage to look again, the apparition had vanished into thin air. The strange encounter weighed heavily on Jake's mind, prompting him to share the unsettling incident with his mother. At first, she dismissed it as a figment of his imagination, but soon, her own sleepless nights unfolded a disturbing truth. An inexplicable dread gripped her, as if an unknown presence loomed just beyond the front door, yearning to cross the threshold. Driven to desperation, Jake's mother sought solace in her faith, seeking counsel from the local spiritual community. However, the remedies they offered failed to quell the mounting terror. It was an elderly woman, a believer in the mystical, who proposed an audacious solution: a visit to a renowned spiritual counselor known for her uncanny insights. With trepidation, the family embarked on their journey into the unknown. The counselor, a mysterious figure with an aura of ancient wisdom, greeted them in her dimly lit chamber. She engaged them in cryptic conversation, lighting incense to awaken dormant forces. Her piercing gaze seemed to delve into their souls as she inquired about their sleepless nights and unshakable fears. Unveiling a collection of yellowed papers, the counselor revealed a ritual to confront the malevolent presence that haunted them. Instructions were imparted to Jake: soak silver needles in water and observe for signs of rust, the telltale mark of an otherworldly presence. Then, under the cover of his mother's sleep, he was to burn the papers, their ashes banishing the entity. But he had to remain silent, retreat without looking back, and dispose of the remaining papers at a nearby crossroad before returning home. Night fell, casting a shroud of darkness over their home. Jake, standing vigil by his mother's side, waited until the clock struck midnight. The moment appeared opportune, as his mother's rhythmic breathing signaled her slumber. He cautiously rose, his trembling hand clutching the papers, ready to confront the malevolence that plagued them. Yet, as he attempted to ignite the flames, his mother's voice shattered the silence, piercing the air with a desperate plea to halt. Startled, Jake abandoned the ritual, uncertainty clouding his thoughts. An hour passed, and his mother's snores resumed, their rhythmic cadence luring him back to the task at hand. He lit the papers, watching as they transformed into ashes, carrying their hopes and fears into the night. However, the aftermath held unexpected consequences. Jake, once free from the grip of terror, now found himself plagued by an unexplainable unease. The world around him appeared distorted, every shadow concealing a potential threat. Even his mother's gentle voice evoked a primal fear within him. His complexion turned pallid, an eerie transformation that sent chills down his mother's spine. Determined to restore their lives to normalcy, his mother decided to revisit the spiritual counselor. Together, they returned to her abode, where she unveiled a new plan. The counselor explained that the malevolent spirits had taken a liking to Jake, offering their assistance to rid their lives of the relentless hauntings. A ceremony was arranged, this time involving the placement of a mysterious red paper on a tree outside their home, its purpose known only to the counselor. Incantations filled the air as the counselor commanded the spirits to depart, their voices an enigmatic chorus resonating through the quiet neighborhood. From that day forward, tranquility returned to their once troubled abode. The apparitions ceased, and the family found solace in the absence of fear. Yet a lingering question remained. What did the spirits truly desire? Was their involvement in Jake's life a blessing or a curse? Only time would reveal the answers hidden within the shadows of their haunting tale. Horror story: The Spectral Stare of the Hound. This chilling tale took place on a desolate Sunday evening as my friend and I embarked on a road trip to an isolated town. Our path meandered through a forsaken hamlet, and it was during this ill-fated traverse that we encountered a funeral procession. I, having grown up in the bustling city, was unfamiliar with such macabre customs. The passing of my grandfather and great-grandfather occurred when I was but a tender soul, and my family forbade me from attending their somber ceremonies. It was an enigma to behold. Intrigued, I turned to my companion and queried, "What devilry is this?" He replied with a tone of dark familiarity, "They mourn and accompany the departed to their final resting place. Such rites are commonplace in their ancestral domain. When an elder breathes their last, kinsfolk from the village unite in mourning and paying respects. If not for my eerie encounters with puppetry comics, I might have dismissed it as a trifling curiosity. Alas, my exposure to those spine-tingling chronicles taught me that inexplicable phenomena lurk in the shadows of our realm." Thus, as my friend's words echoed in my mind, I silently muttered, "Innocent children, ignorant of their trespass, may the departed find solace in their final journey. Life is but a procession of arrivals and departures." And so, we resumed our expedition, oblivious to the sinister fate that lay in wait. It was in the depths of that sinister night, bewitched by the hour of 2 or 3, that I slumbered deeply. Abruptly, my eyes fluttered open, revealing a ghastly sight, an elderly specter looming at the foot of my bed. His countenance veiled in darkness, save for the vivid recollection of his impeccably tailored suit and sleek silver hair slicked back with an otherworldly sheen. No words escaped his lips. He merely fixed his spectral gaze upon me. A disconcerting tremor gripped my core, for I possessed an eidetic memory, and with utmost certainty proclaimed that this elderly phantom had never graced my path in the 2 decades of my existence. Now, you may wonder if this apparition was my grandfather or great-grandfather. I shall confess that my grandfather had departed this mortal plane before my birth, yet his photographs had adorned our humble abode, leaving an indelible impression upon me. Moreover, being the first scion of my lineage, raised within the loving embrace of my grandparents due to the arduous obligations of my parents, I could not possibly mistake his visage. And now, residing with my parents in the twilight of night, to be confronted by this cryptic figure at the foot of my bed, even the bravest soul would quiver with trepidation. As I contemplated raising the alarm, an inexplicable paralysis seized me, rendering my cries for aid but whispers lost in the ether. A disconcerting realization dawned upon me. I had unwittingly stumbled upon the dreaded phenomenon known as nightmare paralysis. In the throes of this torment, my faithful companion, a hound named Shadow, a colossal obsidian beast under my care, erupted into a frenzied cacophony of barks. Never before had Shadow exhibited such vocal vigor since joining our household. This was the first time his vocalizations reached my ears. In tandem with Shadow's outburst, my senses snapped back to reality, and the apparition that had haunted my vision vanished into the night. I reached out to touch Shadow's fur, hoping to allay his agitation, yet to my astonishment, I found myself powerless to budge him from his vigil. Positioned at my bedside, he stood guard, as if in a standoff with an unseen adversary, teeth bared and snarling ferociously. Several eternities seemed to pass before Shadow ceased his vocal tirade, and the tension that once seized his body dissipated. He licked my face with his warm, reassuring tongue, and I rose from my bed. Together, we embarked on a journey to the bathroom, the thirst for water now consuming me. Shadow trailed faithfully at my heels, never straying, his presence offering a modicum of solace. As I glanced at my phone, the specific time eluded me, though I recall it to be a time shy of the witching hour. Cocooned in the comfort of my bed once more, with Shadow nestled beside me, I slept soundly until the break of day. No dreams of the elderly apparition plagued my slumber. This eerie encounter remains etched in my memory as one of the most peculiar incidents to befall me. The veracity of the events I leave for you to discern. Let it serve as a haunting tale, whispered in the dead of night, for all who dare to listen.